Awesome. Hey,
Hi, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. My name's Issa. I'll be interviewing you today,
Nice to meet
and we're with
you, Lisa.
Ambitious Entertainment. So, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Ambition Amplified. Today we have Earl Hester. So excited to chat with you. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Earl Hester. I'm a singer-songwriter from Chicago. I just released my debut album, Senior Year. You all should check it out.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to talk to you. Um, you did say you're from Chicago, born and raised.
Yeah, I'm born and raised.
Nice. What part of Chicago?
The Austin community, so the west side of Chicago.
Nice. Fantastic. And so let's just jump right into it. How would you describe your music?
I think that I would describe it as just like a mixing pot of everything. Um, I use the term pop just because it has some up-tempo beats and some catchy choruses and stuff, but I sing all different types of styles from gospel to opera to rock on my music. So I would say that it's just a mixing pot of everything.
I love that. Fantastic. When did you start making music?
I started making music, I started recording when I was 13, but I started making music probably when I was like, I would say about 17. I started writing 17, like 15 to 17 is when I started like journaling and writing every day and coming up with stuff.
That's awesome. What inspired you to start?
Um, I think that I just always had a love for singing and a love for like music. I feel like it just was a way for me to like express myself. It was an outlet. And so it went from me singing other people's music and like feeling it in my heart and my soul and in my body to writing my own music and coming up with lyrics here and there. And then it turned into a song. And so from there, we got songs on top of songs, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. When did you decide, like, I want to make my work and put it out there?
Um, I think I always knew that I wanted to make music. Putting it out there, I don't know actually. I think because I didn't initially start making music to put it out there, I just had a love for it.
Yeah.
And so I started performing a bunch, and everyone would be asking me, like, where's the music? Like, are you going to put out some music? And so then I started putting things out because of that, because I love to perform so much.
That's awesome. Very cool. Who are some of your influences?
I have a bunch of influences. So on the gospel side, I would say that I love um, Donnie McClurkin, the Clark sisters, Anthony Brown. On the pop side, I could say Beyonce, Bruno Mars, Michael Jackson, um, and then yeah, I like a little bit of everything, I guess. So
Yeah.
those folks and many more.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump into your most recent album, Senior Year.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the work?
Senior year, I would say is my rebirth. It's a triumph over, you know, a bad dark time because I wrote this album in a pandemic and I just feel like everything was going so wrong that I thought that I needed time to heal from so many different things and I had so much to say and I thought that maybe other people felt the same way. So senior year is kind of just that like that it's time to celebrate. You know, we went through so much, but let's close the chapter. Let's close the door on that and let's start something fresh. So it's, I would say, closing and opening the door at the same time.
Awesome. That's super beautiful. What was the process of putting together that album like?
Um, at first, so I was going back and forth from the studio, and then I make music at home. Like I'll just be singing stuff, and I'll record like small things. So at first I was going back and forth in the studio, and then the pandemic got super duper heavy, so we all couldn't be around each other. So then I became an engineer, and I was at home recording vocals, cutting vocals, and sending it back to the studio. And it would be a back and forth, emailing back and forth. And that's how it was created. As far as writing goes, I remember taking a trip to Tennessee, and I bought a journal because my aunt lived out in Tennessee, the city of music, you know. And I bought a Woodstock journal, and it had these like quotes in it. And so I would just be writing stuff every day. Every day I would get inspired by different things, and probably wrote like 100 or more songs, and I chopped it down to 10, and here's singing.
Wow. What did you do with those other 90 songs?
They're still there. They're on my computer. I think that, other music is coming soon. It's around the corner. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, but right. I have the music, and I would love to do some more projects with it and do some other things with it,
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. What's been the most meaningful part of putting together that album?
I guess I would say the most meaningful part about putting together senior year would have to be getting to see people connect with it. Like being able to send it to my sisters or some of my cousins, and they're like, I feel this bad. Like that made me feel like everything that I was doing wasn't for no reason or me just playing around. Like get to see people say, man, perfect people, that message, that's something like that really stuck with me, and it inspires me daily to keep going, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so beautiful. You're like an outlet for everyone else's feelings around a ton of different subjects. I mean, the pandemic, what an I guess inspiring time. It was really hard on everybody, so being able to take that and make something really beautiful out of it is so important. So kudos. It's a fantastic album, so everyone absolutely go check it out for sure. If you had any, what was the promotion of this album like? I know it was released really recently, the 12th.
Yeah, it was really recent. So I kind of did this thing where, because I wrote it during the pandemic, so it's been a few years, like during the heart of the pandemic. Yeah. So I've had the songs for quite a while, and so I was like, let me start shopping it around because I didn't have much music out prior to the album. I had maybe a song before I started rolling out the album because Saint Laurent is the lead single on the album. So what I did was everywhere I went, I was like, let me sing this song. Let me sing Saint Laurent and see what people think. Yeah. Let me sing this song. I would switch back and forth between like 2 or 3 songs to gauge kind of the audience and to see what people liked and what people didn't like, or what I should change here. Should this vocal sound like this or this? And so that was the promotion at first. And now I don't want to talk too much about it, but I think the promotion afterwards is going to be really cool too. I got some ads and some visuals and stuff coming soon.
Oh, fantastic. So exciting. I'm so excited. And then I also wanted to ask, how does your album now resonate with you after so many years?
I think that the album resonates with me differently now, in a sense of where in the moment it was more of like a heartbreak album, and it was like, oh, I'm picking the pieces up. I'm trying to navigate this trying time. I'm trying to navigate relationships and just like life, and how sometimes life be life, and like it went from that to, I feel like, triumph. Like now it's more like this album is liberation for me. Like when I sing the songs, it's not so much heartbreak anymore. And while I know that those were the initial feelings, now it just brings me joy to know that like I overcame those things.
Yeah, fantastic. And then zooming out a little bit, can you tell us about your creative process?
Yeah, so creative day. I get inspired by the smallest things. Like I could see, literally, I was eating an apple when I wrote the second verse on Saint Laurent. I was eating an apple, and I just was looking at the sun, and the words just started flowing. So sometimes, I mean, I feel like it depends on the song or what I'm trying to do, but most of the time I let the music just come. I'll either listen to some things or listen to some instrumentals and try to pull some inspiration. But sometimes I'm just moved and I'll have a little melody in my head and I'll sing it and I'll record it on my phone. And then when I get home, I'll go back to it and try to like flesh it out and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
that's usually how I write.
fantastic. What's your typical approach to writing music? I know you
My
gave us a little
typical
bit that
approach.
comes to you.
Yeah, I would say that, so my typical approach really, like when it comes to me, usually something has happened. Um, Whether it's a good experience or a bad experience. Let's say I went to the coffee store and I had a really, really good coffee and I really, really liked it. Then I start detailing in a notebook or a journal or whatever you like to call it about the coffee. And then all of a sudden it's like, dun, 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 and I start pulling from what I wrote describing the coffee into like poetry almost. And then from that poetry, I'll line it up with like a melody, and that's usually how I get there most of the time.
That's awesome. How do you, I guess, remember to write all of these inspirations down? Because sometimes people get so caught up in just their day to day and what's going on and these big experiences that sometimes we don't choose to remember it.
I would say it doesn't leave me alone. Like when they really stick. So like, um, Saint Laurent early in the day, I was like singing like the melody. I just had to like that's all I had. I didn't have any words, and I remember being so broke, and it was a few days after my birthday, and I was like, I want to get something to celebrate my birthday.
Yeah.
Something gotta give. Like it didn't seem like life was like good at the time. So I was like, let me go buy something with these last few dollars. And I bought a voice box thingy where you can plug in a mic and like sing on it. And so when I came back for the voice box, the first thing that came to my mind was like, and now it's because I won't sing Laurent for my birthday. It just won't leave. The songs that stick just they
Yeah.
won't go anywhere for some reason.
Oh, I love that. And thank you so much for sharing on our live, singing a little bit. Oh, your voice is so like smooth.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Okay, so have you written for other people or have you mainly just written for yourself?
I would say yes and no. So I've been in writing sessions before for other artists. I haven't seen any of my songs that I've written for other people come out just yet. So that's why I'm gonna say no. But I have written for other artists,
Yeah.
and it was a good they were good experiences. I feel like.
Yeah, that's fantastic. How do you approach writing music for other people as opposed to for just yourself?
So for other people, I kind of try to emulate what happens with me, like internally. So if I'm in the studio with another person, I'll just start asking a bunch of questions. So like, how's your day going? Because for me, a bunch of the time, the studio sessions would be like a therapy session almost.
Yeah.
So I would start with like, how's it going? And let them kind of flow with how their day is going. And then I would be like, so then what about this? What about that? And let's say you're like, oh, I had a great coffee. What did the coffee taste like?
Yeah.
Did it remind you of anything? Did it remind you of home? Did it? And from there, you start streamlining all these ideas. And then I kind of go into the same process that I was telling you about earlier, where it's like, I have all this material. Now let's condense it and make something catchy with
Yeah.
it. What's the tagline of all of this? What's the meaning of this whole conversation that we're having?
Nice. Do you see yourself writing for other artists in the future as well?
Yeah. If other artists would have me to be in their sessions and to write more music for them, I would love to.
Fantastic. And a few folks that we've interviewed have also brought up being in writers' rooms or writing sessions with other people. How do you come across those opportunities?
Well, I went to music school, so a bunch of my a bunch of my friends are musicians and artists, and I worked with a theater company called, well, a production company now. When I first joined them, they were a theater company, but a production company called Collaboration. And so I was in connection with a bunch of like artists and singers and poets and dancers and stuff like that. So a lot of the times just happened super duper organically, where it would be like, we have a tour coming up. What can we do for this tour? And so we would write stuff for the tour. Now all of a sudden we have more material for each other's albums or EPs or whatever. And so that's really how it happened, I feel like. Or we would just be at each other's houses, because most of us have like studios or small like setups, and we would just be having a good time and write music, you know?
That's fantastic. Always just finding your people and finding the right spaces. That's so cool. And music school will definitely help for sure. Speaking of, you're a bit of a triple threat. Can you tell us, can you tell us about those other experiences that you've had as a dancer, actor, overall performer?
What do you want to know? Like,
first, what I saw that you did some musicals. Is that true?
yeah, I did do musicals. I did musicals since the time I think I was 5 when I started doing musicals. So my aunt, she's a playwright.
Oh, nice.
And so she would write plays, and my family's super duper musical. So it wouldn't just be plays, they would be musicals. Yeah. And so from the time I was 5, I was the star of a musical called Christmas is All About Christ. And from there, I just always have had a love for like musical theater and dancing and performing and just like creating art outside of myself. And so I kind of just took those things and used them for my own artistry. So I dance and I sing in my performances now because that's where I came from. I did conservatory and stuff when I was a teenager. And so I just never wanted to let it go.
Makes sense. I was a musical theater nerd growing up too, so I completely get it. And my next question actually was, how have these skills in these other areas enhanced your performing and create other creative work?
I think that they've allowed me to have a really good attention to detail, or just being like hone on one thing, because I feel like it can be very overwhelming to try to like sing and dance at the same time, or perform or perform and sing at the same time, because you're focusing on the notes or you're focusing on the steps or whatever. But I like to drill. So if I'm singing this week, or singing is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm going to try to sing for 8 hours. Like, let's drill it. And vice versa for dancing. Yeah. And then even with acting, I try to fully submerge myself into that character. I try to not be Earl Hester, but be whoever it is that's on the script that I'm given.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think people forget that, especially musical theater performers, are athletes. So it really does help in all of those other aspects, for sure. And I think stage presence is so overlooked sometimes when it's the most important aspect. And you for sure have some stage presence, which is another thing that I want to talk about. A few months ago, you opened for JID. Can you tell us about that experience?
It was amazing. I feel like that was probably the largest performance that I've ever done in my life. Me and the Nasty Boys, which is my band, we worked for months to try to pull off, a super duper strong show. And I think that everyone involved did a really, really beautiful job. And I was honored to be on the same ticket as JID. Like, that's crazy.
Yes. He is a household favorite in my apartment for sure. So that is the biggest deal in the world. How did you prepare for that performance specifically?
It was a bunch of rehearsals. It was rehearsals like every day. So we had rehearsals. I believe it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday was no Monday and Wednesday would be vocal rehearsals.
Okay.
And then I think it was like Tuesday and Friday would be band rehearsal. And on Friday we would all come together too to
Mm-hmm.
do rehearsal. So we did that for about, I would say, 4 to 5 months. So it was like rehearsal around the clock, and then I would rehearse at home too a bunch and just really try to like submerge myself into the music.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Be ready so you don't have to get ready. I love that. Um, what can you tell us about some of your other performing experiences?
What do you want to know about? What do you? Can
Yeah,
you
just
expound upon that question?
yeah, absolutely. Just more about maybe some of your favorite experiences performing around the city, maybe the most memorable, even if it wasn't the best. I don't know why it wouldn't be the best, but just the most memorable experiences. What do you have you learned doing performing?
Okay, I think my most memorable performance to date, other than the JRD performance, would probably be when I was about, I think I was like 16. I performed at a show at old high school. And me and some of my friends, we got together and we like did all this choreography. And we did a similar thing where it was just like we rehearsed a bunch for it. And I think that that was the moment for sure that made me realize that like performing wasn't just a for fun type thing. It's a life thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's something that I want to do for the rest of my life. And so I'll remember that performance for forever. Every time I see that picture, it's just pictures of that performance. I'm just like, wow, can't believe we did that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Did you prepare? Sorry, I for some reason can't form this question in my head. How what's the difference preparing for some of your other performances than like this last big performance?
I guess the length of preparation is a little bit different. So since it was so many, since we had a full band
Mm-hmm.
and everything was 100% live, like there wasn't even a backing track or anything like that. I think that the preparation was much more rigorous and the time was a longer period of time. So it was no dairy. I was really struggling because I love cold drinks and ice cream. I couldn't eat any of those things. It was going to the gym every day. It was just something that was happening for longer periods of time when usually for a performance it's either 2 weeks or a month. This one was like 5 months. No eating this, no eating that. I can't sing too much because I have to be able to sing in rehearsal tomorrow. I gotta, it was much grander than the rest, I feel like. And not in a way saying that this performance was better than the others, but it just because of the timeline that we had, the preparation for it was so grand. I
Yeah.
was preparing for months on end. We all were, and it was bigger than just me. And I think that that's the big difference in that
Mm-hmm.
performance because it wasn't just Earl Hester.
Mm-hmm.
It was Earl Hester and the Nasty Boys. So we all came out and we all put in the time and we all did the work for that show. And I'm really proud of the results.
Yeah. I mean, it looked fantastic. I wish I was there. Um, what what advice would you give to other artists who are just beginning to perform?
I would say never give up, never let anything discourage you. Like if you believe in yourself, I feel like that's the best place to be. If you believe in yourself, then you can do anything. The world is your oyster.
Absolutely. For sure. And you were talking about how this last performance was not just Earl Hester, it was Earl Hester and the Nasty Boys. Can you explain how that collaboration came to be?
Yeah, so like I was saying earlier about like how me and all my friends kind of like make music here and there sometimes, and we're always like jamming out and doing stuff like that. My one friend came up to me and was like, "Hey, we should do this competition." And I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that. But he was relentless about it. He was like, no, we need to do this. We're gonna do this. So
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. So, a competition.
Oh, did I break up? Was it
Yeah,
me?
you broke up a little bit. I think it's okay now. I
Okay, okay, okay. So I
don't
was
know if
saying
it was
that
just on my end or not.
I don't
Here,
I,
let
I don't
me.
know. It could have been me.
Okay, hopefully I fixed it.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. So, sorry. Again, if not for our audience, then just for me, there was a competition.
It was a competition that I did not want to do
Yeah.
because I don't even know why I didn't want to do it. I think it was during like we were going through finals and all this stuff, and I just felt like I was just so overwhelmed. And my friend was very, very relentless. He was
Mhm.
like, "No, we need to do this." Every day he was like, "Did you sign up for the competition? Did you sign up for the competition?" I'm like, "No, I did not." And so he kept on coming back. He kept on coming back like, "No, we need to do this competition." So I was like, "Fine." So I signed us up and we started rehearsing for it, and everyone just started to like gel really well together. It was such a good time. Everyone was having so much fun in the rehearsals. We came up with a name and we performed at the competition and won, and the rest has been history.
Wow. Fantastic. So, are you still Earl, Hester, and the Nasty Boys? Or do they only pop
Yes.
out every once in a while? Oh,
Well,
fantastic.
yeah, it's kind of both. So it's Earl Hester and the Nasty Boys. So I kind of have my own solo stuff that I do, and then we've been working on a
Yeah,
few things. So it's kind of both.
absolutely. Come on, Anderson Paak slash Anderson Paak. And is it the Nationals?
I think so,
I'm not exactly
right?
sure. um, awesome. How has collaborating on music affected your personal making of music?
I think it has allowed me to become a stronger learner for
Mm.
sure. I feel like in collaboration, it's not all just you. And so you're able to see really cool things from other people. And I remember telling one of the people who sings vocals in the group that like the tone of their voice is so crazy. And that was one of the things that I started like paying attention to more was like, how does the tone of my voice sound? How
Mm.
can I make the tone of my voice sound like this? Or, how can I bring nuance to me? Like that's
Mm.
the way that he sings. And I think it's really crazy and sick and cool because he has so much nuance. How do I bring that nuance to me on
Yeah.
stage singing? And so I think that's really cool about collaborating. You get to see everyone's nuance and how they perform and how music moves them, and it's really, really inspiring to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to the topic of inspiration, it sounds like you are very inspired by everyday life and what you have going on. How has your music inspired your life? Like kind of the opposite.
That's a great question. Um, how's my music inspire my life?
Or even just the making of your music. What have you learned in making music that you now take every day with you?
I guess to live in the moment.
Mm.
Living in the moment. The music has definitely forced me to live in the moment because it's like when you're to be vulnerable is to be in the
Mm.
moment and to say how you feel. And if you hold the emotion for next time, it may not be as potent as right now. And if you really, really need to say something like you're angry or you're super duper happy or you feel down today or whatever it may be, when you get to the studio, you can release and be vulnerable. But if you save it for tomorrow, it may not be the same.
Yeah.
So it has forced me to really, really live in the moment. And even when it's like writing stuff, like I'll just hurry up and jot something down so I don't forget it, like we were talking about earlier. So I feel like that's what really inspires my life from the music is just being in the moment for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such fantastic, not only a fantastic lesson to learn, but fantastic advice. Like, yeah, it's just so important for all of us to stay focused on what's happening right now.
For sure.
So awesome. Well, what are some goals that you have for your music going forward?
I just want to keep on releasing music.
Yeah.
I want to keep on inspiring other people to make music. I want to keep on being inspired. I want to collaborate with more people. I would love to do maybe a deluxe of the album that I have now with a few other artists. That would be super duper fun. And like I said, the new music, I have other music too that I would like to put out in the future as well.
Yeah. What do you look for in other artists that you're hoping to collab with?
I would say just like freedom and who they are,
Mm.
and a bunch of nuance, I guess. I just love
Yeah.
that word nuance. Like I don't know why it stuck with me, but like when someone's life experience translates into their music, into their artwork, whatever type of art form you do, if you have that nuance and that grit, I think it's really, really cool. And I think that those are the people that I draw near to because it's like, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And are you interested or will you continue to explore other genres of music? You
Oh, for
mentioned
sure.
pop, you mentioned gospel. Like what's your next big interest?
Um, I would love to experiment even more with like opera and like classical stuff. I would love to keep on fusing everything together, kind of how I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I was talking with one of my friends at my listening party, and they were like, "You should rap more." So maybe rapping more, or like melodic rap too, or maybe mixing opera and melodic rap. I feel like that would be cool. Maybe.
Yeah. How did you get into opera? I'm so curious.
Um, I did classical voice in high school, so I did more like contemporary stuff when I was in high school, and I don't know, it kind of just stuck with me. It was fun to get to sing in different languages and compete
Mm.
as like a singer and like do more than just the music that I grew up on. So it just stuck with me, and I always kind of train with it now too. I kind of when I warm up and stuff like that, I'll use some of the techniques that I learned back then.
That is so wonderful. I feel like that's such an underrated genre of music, and it could be argued. I'm not saying this is like fact, but it could be argued that Beyonce kind of, with her most recent album, set a path forward for opera to be more mainstream, which I think is really cool. Um, People can disagree with me on that.
No,
Like,
no, I super agree. That's true. I feel the same way.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And how has exploring these other genres led to your own personal style?
Um, I think that exploring those other genres helped me find like a middle ground in
Mm,
a way where it's like, um, if I have a trap beat, so like I have a song called Bon Appetit, where I'm kind of like in the background singing like more like melodic stuff and like opera things going on,
yeah,
and then in the foreground you have like this like rap vocal.
mm,
Um, I don't know. I just think that it's allowed me to kind of just like hear different things in the music. So I will start singing a song, and if I hear an ad lib that's like super duper churchy, I'll be like, it'll be cool to put this on top of like a ballad, a
yeah,
pop ballad, where those two things usually never mix together. Where it's like you have this pop ballad and a gospel song. I'm like, let me put the gospel in the pop ballad and see how it goes. So
that's so cool. Fantastic. What has been one of your most memorable experiences as an artist here in Chicago?
um, that's a great question. I would say one of the most memorable experiences was probably singing at the DNC. That was really cool because
Yeah,
it seemed like all of Chicago kind of like shut down to be at the DNC and to just see all those people there and to see everyone come together to like make a difference. That was
yeah.
really cool.
Oh, that is such an incredible experience. Can you tell us more about that? Like, what was that like? How did you book that?
So similar kind of thing to earlier about how like I was touring with the production company. I actually started working with Collaboration
Yeah.
when I was, I believe, 15 years old. And so from then, I've just been working with them. And so they gave me a call and they were like, "Hey, Earl, we got a performance slot at the DNC for 2 days. Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to come for sure. I'm there." Put my name on the list. And so I was traveling back and forth from rehearsals for the JID show
Mm-hmm.
to the DNC. And so it was really, really busy and really, really hectic, but it was super duper fun. And I got to perform and see other talent too from the city as well.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely incredible. Oh, like, I don't even know what to say. That's so fantastic. What kind of music, or you were performing with other people and collaborating with other folks on that performance as well. What kind of stuff did you do? Because I don't think I'm.
Well, I really did. It wasn't really like a collaboration like that. It was like we had so like within our group we had several people on the lineup. So it was kind of like a festival in a
Oh,
way, a
nice.
festival performance almost. So I had my allotted time, and then the next person would have their allotted time, and then there were like other groups and organizations that had blocks of time and windows, and so we were all there and passing each other by. And so if I had a free 20 minutes at lunch to go see another group perform, I would go check out their group as well.
Yeah, that is so so cool. Awesome. I only have a couple more questions for you, but this has been so wonderful. Um, I guess my first question towards the end would be, what is some general advice you have for any upcoming artists, writers, musicians, producers? I guess you said you dabbled with that during the pandemic too. What kind of advice would you give?
I would say to number one, really, really push yourself. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Be about what you talk about. Be so about what you talk about. But at the same time, give yourself grace and allow yourself to be artistically free and in
Mm,
the moment.
beautiful. And what kind of message do you want audiences to take away from your music?
That you're not alone
Mm,
and that healing, everyone is healing is accessible to everyone.
mm.
And to just live in the moment for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And last but definitely not least, what does ambition mean to you?
I would say ambition means to me is when you're able to dream and
Mm,
then act on those dreams and to be proactive on those dreams. So you can dream. I feel like the world has so many dreamers and everyone's a dreamer, but it's the people that are hitting the ground floor running. Those are the ambitious people. And that's where I see ambition. I mean,
absolutely. And clearly, we've heard all about how hard you work and everything that you do. But what is another way that you are ambitious?
what is another way that I'm ambitious? I feel like I feel like I'm really ambitious when it comes to creativity and art.
Mm,
Like even with this album, it just was like I want to make the best album I can make, and the initial goal was just like reach as many people as you can, and that has no limit on it. And I do that a bunch, or it'll be like even just like technically when it comes down to like singing, I know how high I can sing and how low I can sing. I'll be like, let's try to sing lower, let's try to go higher, let's go two three notes higher, let's do this. So I don't know, I guess I just in a lot of things I do, I just like to push myself.
yeah. That is so inspiring. You are so inspiring. Thank you
Thank
so much again for
you.
joining us. It has been so incredible to talk to you. Is there anything else you want to promote? You want to give us a sneak peek on? You want to share with us?
I don't I don't have anything else I would like to give you guys a sneak peek on, but make sure you go stream Senior Year. It's out right now.
Senior Year is out right now. Tell everyone where they can find you online.
You can find me anywhere at Earl Hester.
At Earl Hester. Fantastic. Thank you again.
Thank
It has been
you so much
such
for
a,
having me.
of course, it has been such a treat to talk to you. And for everybody else, thank you so much for joining. This has been another episode of Ambition Amplified. We have episodes every Thursday and Sunday at 7 p.m. that you can watch live on our Instagram. Otherwise, we'll have some reels put up on our Instagram at Ambitious Entertainment Nonprofit. And make sure to check us out on YouTube so you can watch the entire interview all over again. It has, once again, Earl, been such a treat to talk to you, and hopefully our paths will cross again really, really soon. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Of course. Bye-bye.